Hello, class, and welcome to what is week 8. Not that I need to remind you. We all know, whether we are ready for it or not, we all know that this is the last official week in our semester. So obviously, you should have received my last video and my note that I'm giving you some additional time. So it's going to be very important, and I want to say this up front, and I'm going to say it at the end, but I want to say it and make it very clear that that 8 p.m. deadline, okay, on that Friday night to get everything in is the absolute drop dead deadline, okay? So I won't, if it's not in by after that, credit will not be given, okay? So it's essential that you have it in by 8 p.m. because that's an entire extra week that I'm giving you on your final, really all of your assignments, okay? So I know I've been in conversation with some of you. There's been, again, some delays. Just life is getting in the way, and I understand that. We're going to get through this, okay? So hang in there. We're going to get through it, and it's going to be done with excellence. So as you kind of, I know, especially those of you that are probably struggling to get through with everything, probably the biggest concern for you, the biggest struggle for you is that you are an individual that likes to do things with excellence and probably feeling like I can't do the caliber of work that I would want to do for these assignments, especially as my final product and project for this course. So a couple of things. Okay, so let me talk about that. So let me talk about the quality. So what is it called? Quality control, okay? Quality assurance. So whatever it is that you have that position in, oftentimes industrial type organizations. So you have assignments that are due, okay? They have to be done, and they have to be done, I would expect them to be done well. There are other things on your website that perhaps your site may not be exactly what you would want it to be by the time this term is over. And that is okay, all right? So what I'm not saying is, hear me, I'm not saying you don't have to worry about your assignments, but I am saying that you can tweak things and make them look a certain way and upload them, do some different stuff on your website between now and really when the term is over, and then obviously when you give your final presentation. I will be in there, I will be checking it out, I'll be looking at all of those things, but hear me, you can make some adjustments because that is a live, I was going to say document, it's a live website that's your own website, so it's going to be important that you make sure that you, I encourage you to feel comfortable making some adjustments, tweak some things, put them over here, maybe it was over here to begin, and you want to move it over there, or whatever it is. So just make sure, here's what I would say, please make sure that you are, you're following through exactly what is asked of you in the syllabus assignment, okay? So oftentimes there are points that are deducted when folks don't adhere to the exact outline of what's included in the syllabus. So I want you to really make sure that you are paying very close attention to everything that you're reading in that syllabus, okay? So there's that. Some folks are asking about what's the grade scale. So this is an A to F scale. It says so in the syllabus. The unique part about this is that you're really working towards a final product. So once again, we've got those deadlines for you to kind of be working toward and within, so that you don't get behind and you're not off schedule, so that you're not working on multiple assignments at one time, or multiple, I guess I would say, additional assignments at one time, though I do understand that there will be some obviously, or there has been some weeks when you've had multiple assignments. But the more that you're behind on your assignments, the more obviously you're doing at the same time, and that's why this kind of the schedule was set out in such a way that you wouldn't have to do that. So having said all of that, if you're behind, you've got that extra week, and I would encourage you and challenge you to really kind of hunker down, as we talked about in my last video. Some of those conversations that I've had with folks, I could sense that there's a little bit of just kind of like, I'm discouraged, I'm dismayed, I don't know how I'm going to get it done, and I feel confident that we'll get it done. Okay, so please continue to stay in contact with me as you have concerns, perhaps struggles, questions, whatever the case may be. Let's continue to be in close contact so that I'm not surprised come the end of the semester and you're not feeling like you still have some things that are unclear, okay? So this week, I will have everything updated. If you're thinking, I haven't really gotten a whole lot of feedback on my papers, and that's okay. So remember, we've got some extra time. Hang in there. The one thing that I will mention is, although probably for, I would say, the vast majority of you, this is the first time that we've worked together on a class. This is the last class in the program, so the expectation is that you have been improving in your writing from day 1 of the program to whatever it is now. So day, 800 and something, or day 900 and something, depending on how long it took you to get through the program. Or for some that blaze through, day 365, whatever the case is. So I'm looking for, obviously I want the communication to be clear, I want the writing to be done well, I want there to be proper grammar, and spelling has to be correct, and so forth. But what I'm really looking for is, did you put the thought and did you put the time and consideration into the actual assignments? I've got I think at least one, maybe two of you. I'm trying to remember. I'm looking through my rosters right now. But at least one of you that's in my other class I'm teaching, which is Understanding Vocation in a Changing World, and that is a unique class. So it's this idea of calling and vocation and career development and work and all of those different things that we love to talk about. Sometimes, we love to talk about in a kind of a negative sense, like, and grumble about having to go to work, but then at the same time, we're grateful that we have work to go to. But we don't necessarily always, I think, talk rightly about vocation, calling, and how does that fit into this whole discussion. So for those who have taken that class, I think you're at an advantage in some respects because you at least had some of those discussions ongoing. But one of the things that I mentioned is that similar to this class, that class is very much a course where, how do I put this? It's not something necessarily, well, let me go back. I think I've told you, I don't like rubrics. I don't like grading rubrics. If I haven't mentioned that before, I don't like grading rubrics. I just don't like them. I don't think they serve the purpose that I think students would like for them to serve, and I wonder sometimes if they serve the purpose the faculty are hoping that they'll serve. And some people they live and they die by them, they love them, they're awesome, they're the best. And for me, I have a thing, because if I assign something, I don't want somebody to go down a checklist. I don't want them to say, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I want you to cover the things that are, assigned in the actual assignment, right? But I don't want you to treat it as a checklist. I want you to actually do the assignment. And so oftentimes there's this reality where people are working towards a grade, but they're not working towards a learning process. And I think I've probably mentioned this before. But I want to encourage us, I want to remind us of how important the learning process is versus that of the grade. So I would much prefer someone get a C- and be able to walk away from the class and say, man, I learned so much, than get an A just for the sake of getting an A. Now, what I'm not saying here, I'm not saying that you're all going to get C-. If you're doing the work and it's of good quality, you're going to probably have a grade that corresponds with that and do quite well in the course. At least I would hope so. And I think that you would hope so as well. I don't want to build any, anxiety or fear that you're not going to get it great, given that it is an A to F grading scale. But typically, because you've come here and I've seen the quality of your work, you're going to do just fine. But what I would hate to see happen, and this is what I really want to communicate, what I'd hate to see happen is for you to do just fine or even better than just fine. Let's say you get A's, and all it was some exercise that didn't actually drill anything home, that didn't actually confirm or remind you of the things that you've been learning. It didn't actually connect the whole program in your mind to say, oh, yes, it all makes so much more sense now. If all you've done is just check boxes, then I think that we've missed on something. And maybe that's my responsibility as the instructor. So yes, my approach to teaching, my approach to course content, my approach to the way that I facilitate a class, especially one like this that's very much on an independent level, is done quite differently, because I want you to be so engaged with the content that your whole purpose in the course is learning. I want you to become submersed in the content, submersed in the learning, so that we're not even thinking, oh, I hope I get my A. Because I think if we reverse it, if we say, I just want to learn so much, I want to engage and I want to do the best that I possibly can, not necessarily to get my good grade. Now that's a side product, right? That's a side effect, it's a byproduct. But I want to do my best. I want to learn. I want to engage. I want to totally submerge myself in the learning, the content. I think if we approach it that way first, I think that the good grade oftentimes will follow. Now, if you're not adhering to the syllabus, you're not, even focused on spelling, grammar, you don't really care about the assignment, well, then, you're kind of haphazardly approaching the assignments. So, but again, it's my whole approach. It's thinking differently. I've been on this kick with creativity and innovation. I was talking with a colleague just last week, and for those of you in my other class, you're going to hear this twice now. But we talked about how traditional education is done in such a way that that it's just perpetuated. It's this habitual perpetuation of processes, and this is how you teach. This is how you learn. So we write papers, we do this, we do that. You get grades, recycle, reuse, reduce, right? So the whole thing, like, do it over again. And so when you think about from a faculty standpoint, why do I teach the way that I teach? I teach the way because that's how I was taught. And so if you're then going to go teach, you're going to teach the way that you were taught. And somewhere along the way, if someone has interjected and said, no, let's do things a little bit differently. Let's think about it differently. Let's approach this differently. Let's look at the more important aspect of school, of education being the actual learning rather than the grade. Obviously I can't throw grades out the window. I'm not going to throw them to the wind and say, yeah, forget grades. No, we live and work in a system where grades are of the utmost, right? So we're pursuing that. We want a GPA and so forth. Frankly, I've been doing this a long time. And I've been in circles. I was thinking about it today. I was driving into the office, and I was thinking about the fact that in my entire professional career, I have known very few actual industries or fields, right? So I've since 2000, since the last almost 20 years, I have known coffee. I worked in coffee. I worked at a coffee shop for 3 years. I know ministry. I worked in ministry for for an actual job. I worked in ministry for over 3 years, and then I've been in higher education now for 14 years. So when you add all that up, and I did some consulting for a little bit, all I really know are those industries. So and that's probably not abnormal for a lot of folks, but it just struck me that the vast majority I've known higher education. I've known ministry. And I was listening to a podcast earlier and talked about how oftentimes it's education that has come out of the church. So if you look historically at education, it has oftentimes been spurred on by those people of Christian faith. But in all of those years, although that was one sidebar realization that I had, in all of those years, of full-time employment and work, and working in some I think it's fair to say some highbrow type places where education, a premium is placed on education, I have never once, by anybody, ever been asked to tell them what my GPA was. Never. But I have been asked over and over and over again, what did I learn? Tell me what was important. How do you think creatively? Come up with some creative ideas. Right? Think outside the box. That's what I've been asked to do. Never tell them what my GPA is. So I think when you look back and think, now you know these things. I'm preaching to the choir right now, but I think it's a good reminder. It's a good reminder that education is so much more than a grade. Now, of course, you're going to get grades, and I have a feeling that you're going to do fine. You're going to do just fine. You're going to do well in this class, right? The caliber of your work has been excellent. I'm going to give feedback. Please don't worry about that. You'll get the feedback. You'll see where I'm at, if there's any adjustments or tweaks that need to be made. But I want you to know kind of my thinking behind my process, okay? So once again, you have an extra week. Your final assignments are all due by then. If you're making tweaks, you're getting them in. Again, those dates are for you to kind of keep on task. It also is going to make it challenging for me to grade everything. by midnight if I get all of your assignments turned in between 8 p.m. and midnight, or before 8 p.m. and then I have 4 hours to grade everything a week from this Friday. But please get them in as quickly as you can. Do the best that you possibly can on them, and then I will be sharing some more information and videos along with some printed text as far as the final presentations and what to expect from that. So any questions, feel free to give me an email or call. Hope you have a good week, and we will see you online.